I might add gray into this just for the heck of it. So,
Okie dokie. All right, so um, in our master Miro template, you can find this, but this is going to be a kind of overview of marketing strategy. I'll spend 5 minutes on this because I think you understand it. A good primer to this is that marketing strategy scale up workshop, which was like an hour, um, but I think you can get a lot. So, um, all right. So you've seen this before when I
yes.
run through with clients. I say this is totally true. I think the funnel, a lot of people poo-poo on the funnel because I think the reality is there's no gravity in the funnel. People assume that you can put things, if you do stuff at the top, they're going to just automatically get down to the bottom. That's just not true. There's work. It's almost like it's upside down, right? You have to, they start at the bottom and you have to kind of pull them up through the top. And there's effort and work that happens along the way. But attract, convert, close the light. We don't want to just by accident turn strangers, people who don't know about good and growing. We don't want to, somehow people who don't know about good and growing, they're going to become promoters, people who love the process, love the product, love the service, share it with their colleagues. We want to do this on purpose. So we really need to think through these 4 layers, attracting them. How do we get a stranger to visit us? How do we get a visitor to become a lead? How do we get a lead to become a customer? How do we get a customer to become a promoter, right? So there's kind of purposeful steps along the way. And so usually with client, we would go through that like together. Hey, what are you doing now? What do you have? Actually, you know what? Not a bad exercise to do this again uh, together. So I have the Good and Growing Miro pulled up here.
Okay.
And I'll
I
just
was gonna
kind of
say we should just use that. I remember that being on there.
we can we can add, stuff to this right now. So the idea here is we can add like, yeah, Good and Growing has a website. That's about it. We don't really have a social presence. We don't really have like marketing stuff, email stuff going on, but we could, right?
But there is stuff on the social. We do have a social media profile, correct?
Yeah, sure. It's just not very active. Like nobody's doing it on purpose, right?
Was it AI produced? Like I saw a consistency. I was just curious who was posting that consistently.
Oh, is it?
Uh, I mean, there was at some point. It's been a while,
I assume
but
Brienne had some of the team members put stuff together, if
yeah,
there's anything.
yeah.
Okay, so um, here's the reality. Here's like, let me fast forward because you're an insider. Like this is what a typical client looks like. I have a website, I do some social, we have some meeting, we have some conversations, they become a donor, or let's say a client, right? Signed. Okay, so that's usually what many organizations, many companies have. That's what Good and Growing virtually has right now. But here's like just an example of how to fill this out more. Oh, well, we can do community events. We can create trackable links. We can do SEO. We could do PPC. We could do focus on getting listed in directories. All those are great ways to get found, right? So some things that we've just been talking about, like um, cold list turns into email blast, right?
Yeah.
Um, so we have the tools. We can go find 10,000 people. That's not that big a problem. We can go email blast all of them. That's not a problem. But the reality is that some things are going to be like just lower margin, lower output just by nature, right? Cold lists. I think a good conversion would be like 1% of that list to maybe 2% to click, 2 to 4% to click. And then of that group, like 3 to 5% to like take and next activity. So the numbers really have to be really big at the top. Like we have to have 10,000 at the top in order to get, 100, 200 people to click through. Out of the 200, we've got, yeah, again, maybe 2%. We've got 4 people to sign up for a meeting, right? But that's just the work. I mean, there's plenty of leads out there. Like we can just kind of keep blasting. folks. But then there's like things that take a little bit longer, like SEO. We have to build content and drive those numbers. Everything kind of relies on a metric. So SEO would be what are the traffic that we're getting? What are the conversions that we're getting on the site? Again, there's work to do to get the site up to 5,000, 10,000 visitors a month in order for that to work, right? There are things that are more time sensitive, but they require more energy to do up front. This is a lot of stuff that we're doing for clients right now. It's like ABM. ABM is instead of a cold, like large list, we go after really specific 50 people, target 50, and we go, hey, 50 people, like do research on those individuals, try to get connected to them, try to get introduced to them, try to pull those relationships in, create a reason to have a meeting, right? And then when you do that, that email is going to be more effective if you have a good offer. So downloadable offer, a 30-minute consultation. Hey, here's some like interesting pieces of content, 15 things not to do or say. What can volunteers do? Like there's something interesting. There's a hook, right? That we're pulling them in through. A cold email that says like, hey, buy our stuff is usually not a good email. That
Yeah.
conversion rate is going to be lower. But a cold email that says like, hey, did you know this vulnerability exists for websites, HTTPS? If you don't have an SSL certificate on your website, your Google's going to flag you, and your website might not show up for people. You're getting this email because we saw that you may not have that in place. We'd love to talk to you about that. Way higher conversion, right? Because it's going to be it's like time
You're
sensitive,
giving
it's
knowledge.
specific. Yeah, it's like there's a reason that we're reaching out. It doesn't feel salesy. It feels like we're trying to help them, right?
Yeah.
Then there's the normal sales process. We need a CRM. We need some automations to happen in the CRM. Like once we get that contact, we're gonna regularly, reach out to them until until they give up, until they are like, all right, I'll have a meeting. Then there's some sales process until they get to that end result, which is we're gonna close them, right? There's like they become a customer, they do a thing. Most people stop there. They're like, great, move on to the next 10,000 people they're reaching out to. Don't stop there. You have great customers, especially many of our clients have been around more than 10 years. You have a client list. Let's reach out to that list. They know you somewhat more than the cold list does. So when we're doing outreach to these folks, they're different offers, right? It's not just like, hey, we just saw that you have this SSL. There might be a more pertinent, more specific thing for equity, for example. They do title and loans. Hey, we've worked with you in the past, and we want to tell you that this is a thing. Um, our CEO Jim is talking to someone at the Federal Reserve that is having blah blah blah. You should come to check that out. Again, at the top, maybe nobody cares, but at the bottom, oh, I know Jim, I know equity, right? Higher chance of conversions. Maybe even like coming up with like developing a referral campaign. So that again, I did it in like 10 minutes, but that is a complete marketing process. Like if we had all those things in place, we've got a real marketing program going on. And that's, many of our clients don't have anything like that. And we're trying to put all those pieces together to start to measure them, over time with the CMO or things like that. Does it make sense?
Yeah, just for context, I've been working on the inbound. So that's what I've been working on instead of the marketing strategy part. So
For HubSpot?
would you agree with that? The wheel idea where nurturing the clients increases the wheel speed?
Oh, for sure. Yeah, you're talking
Yeah.
about the flywheel.
Yeah, flywheel.
Yeah. Yeah, so HubSpot comes up with a new graphic every, 2 or 3 years, and that's their like new fancy thing. I think there's a newer thing now. I forgot what
Okay.
it's called, but it's essentially the same thing. When you look at the graphic, it's like
The faster it spins, the
sure.
more success.
Yeah. Okay, so you've got strangers, you attract a stranger, they become a prospect, you engage that prospect, they become a customer, you delight that customer, they become a order, they bring new strangers in, and you keep that flywheel spinning. It's the same process. It just doesn't look like a funnel. Um,
Yeah, it doesn't show the speed at which the company's going per se.
it doesn't show that, and it doesn't show. there's a lot of things that I think that they're leaving out in engaged.
Mm.
So yeah, when they're a prospect, like giving them good information, giving them helpful resources, giving them touch points, analyzing and seeing which people are the most interested, talking to them, calling them, reaching out to them, right? So there's a normal kind of sales process to that. There's insightful things today in digital marketing. You know, we have the visibility. We know who's hitting our website. We know who's interested in stuff. You know, if they've interacted with some content that we've created in the past, they're they're more likely to, be aware of us and, want to engage with us further. Okay, now that I've said that, let's go back to good and growing.
Yeah.
All right, so we have a website right now, and you would agree, I'm gonna just put words in your mouth. You would agree that in order to have a good marketing campaign, right, we need a compelling story up here. We need a targeted audience, targeted specific audience, otherwise known as an ICP or an ideal customer profile.
Mm.
We have a rich, useful, helpful offer, right?
Yeah.
Some offer. We have a sales process, and then we have, once they close, agree, we have some sort of like follow-up, uh, referral. Right. So this is good, right? The the thing about Good and Growing is that it's brand new. So when a company, many of our clients, they've existed for more than 10 years. And so when we're doing this process, they have like stuff to work with. They have a list, they have a thing, when we're working with new brands, it's a really different process because developing a compelling story takes a little bit of time. Um, it's takes time, effort. We sell that. Developing the targeted ICP, like there's always anxiety for brand new companies of like targeting this specifically, right? Do we alienate everybody else and really narrow in and focus? For a brand new company, I would say, well, you want to date some ICPs before you marry one, right? So let's figure out like which ones are going to work. Maybe there's like several that we're testing and trying. We want to do the same thing with offers. Like we don't know which offer is going to be the most compelling, and we don't have the resources to create like 3 levels of offers. We probably only have like one offer to create. Our sales process, our resources are low. We don't have a dedicated sales team just doing sales for this. And then, we don't have the referral follow-up push. Why I'm telling you all this is that, that's great. Doing this for Good and Growing, the way that we do it for our clients is going to be really difficult because Good and Growing doesn't have the resources, doesn't have the legacy, it doesn't have all those things. So how do we do this? How do we run, the program? How do we run a marketing strategy for a brand new brand like Good and Growing? My argument would be let's narrow it, super micro narrow it into a uh, like very specific offer, right? Usually starting at the offer is not a bad idea, or even like let's make the close process and selling process easier because we're not selling everything. Right now, Good and Growing, if you modeled it after Figments, it's like, yeah, we can do marketing services and fractional CMO stuff, and we could do these things, websites and branding, and it's a lot. And like meeting an ICP who needs all of that stuff is difficult typically. So my argument is, what if the close was easier? Maybe you know where I'm going with this. Maybe it's uh, cohorts, right? So a cohort, it's already time-based. We only need 6 people, 6 to 12 seats, and it has a really unique offer, right? Like we can test these things very, very specifically, unique offers. super important there. The sales process becomes easier because we don't need to sell a million things. We just go, we've got these 6 seats. We need to go fill those 6 seats. The story becomes easier because it's really specific. The targeting becomes easier. Specific story, targeting, specific targeting. And here's the offer even could be like webinar, right? That drives to, it's like a preview of what you're going to get in the cohort. You know what I mean?
Which you would say would be, would you say that's mastermind would also fit there?
Maybe, yeah. That's kind of an example of, example of one. All right, so, and then you have naturally, this is time-based. So, it's going to be 3 months. People finish this cohort. And so hopefully at the end of it, they have, we can do reviews. We can post those reviews, use those as marketing leverage for the next group, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, let me try to like bring it home a little bit further is like, that's why for Good and Growing, you just have to trust me on this one. I know that MRR, recurring giving, is a hot topic for people, right? So let's say, yeah, let's just repeat this. So I know that recurring giving is an important topic for people. So if we started with, hey, we're going to run a cohort that teaches nonprofits how to create a recurring giving program. You don't have that, you need that. Doing one big event every year is just not good enough. We need to have a strong base of recurring supporters. So we could teach that. Um, there's a there's like MRR is really important. And part of the specific story is like we do MRR all day. Like we know it really, really well. And the specific targeting is now we can go like super niche, not just nonprofits, because that nonprofits is niche. It's like boiling the ocean down into like a small group. It's like, let's call it 20% of all the businesses and organizations that we could work with. But that's still a massive number. What if we went to like ministry-driven organizations that like boils it down to like 10% of that? That's still maybe too big. Maybe it's just churches. Maybe it's just maybe if it's even if it's just faith parachurch. You know what's you know the word parachurch, right?
Oh yeah.
You know where that
That
word
was my job.
you know where that word comes from?
Uh, you know, I don't know, but even people disagree with what parachurch means. So
Yeah,
there's a,
you know what's cool?
I mean, it
I
is for beside the church, for the church.
I,
Yeah.
I bought parachurch.org. I own
Nice.
parachurch.org and parachurch.com, I think. I was shocked that those
So do
domains
you want to make that into a
a subreddit. Yeah, maybe like it's like Parachurch is the name of the program and it's like brought to you by Good and Grown or something like that, right? So it's possible. So I'm arguing that we should focus on this because doing any other sort of like big marketing program, like should we do SEO to Good and Growing? Should we do like all this other stuff? Should we create a sales process? There's like a million things to do. It's going to take you, Austin, with your limited time and resources, it's going to take you like a whole year to develop all of that. Whereas this, we can launch this in a month. Like the actual pieces of this are not difficult. Um, like we can workshop this story. In fact, I can draft it. I have it in my head. I'll use ChatGPT, pump it out, and get a story done like quickly, right? So let me just
I think also just for your context, I think it's kind of like, okay, there's this offer that's virtually there or a figment of my imagination, but there's no collateral yet or website that I can present to them yet
for the offer
confidently.
for the MRR offer.
Um, well, for cohort specifically, because I know that's like what our aim is. So,
I mean, we
uh,
We have that. We have something. Um, Stuff that we put together for Be Bold. Like we have that product that we've kind of tested and just kind of went out there and saw, got some initial feedback on what it was like. Um, so yeah, I think there's work to do in the Be Bold was too broad. It was like you're not the right
Yeah.
audience to like care about this right now.
Yeah.
But yeah, connecting the story to that target is really, really important. So we can decide right now in the next 30 minutes, we can decide what is the who is the specific target that we're going after. College ministries, right? That is really specific. Like, hey, we're helping college ministries think through recurring giving. I've never met a college ministry that has a solid recurring giving strategy. Maybe the big ones, like a friend of mine worked at InterVarsity and he was very like mindful of it. But like I know individual missionaries that write letters to supporters that get support, but they don't have like a solid giving strategy, right?
Yeah, campus outreach, everybody's kind of for themselves, cultivating their donor relationships.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so the sales pipeline here is like, who is, we need to go reach out to whoever this is. Like, yeah, college ministries maybe don't have enough money to buy this, but how about faith coaches? No, they're for profits. Family driven nonprofit. I have no idea. I'm just making this up.
Mhm.
So adoption, nonprofits, foster care, um, alliance of family, values. Like there's a
Pro-life.
pro-life, yeah, pregnancy
Yeah.
centers,
PC,
yeah.
pregnancy centers.
So yeah, I mean, I just thought of that, but it could be anything, right? And maybe we want to like, you can easily duplicate that landing page and then reach out to a bunch and see who gets the most interaction or traction.
Yeah.
So, yeah, another one could be like, uh, mm, how about churches with multiple missionaries?
Yeah.
All right, so we can go to a church and say like, hey, for X amount of dollars, we're going to, we'll have all of your missionaries join this cohort. Um, or like where maybe it's a discount per missionary, but like, hey, this is a program that is going to be really inexpensive for your missionaries. This is an incredible gift for them. You can spend $300 and it's $100 a month for 3 months. And they're gonna come out with lots of tools and resources and mindset knowledge on how to develop their recurring giving. Like, please go sponsor, please sponsor the missionary for this, etc. But the ask is, of course, we can talk about like the ultimate ask is the cohort, but it goes once you target those individuals, you can like I'm imagining you going to a group that you know. As I said, all of these, a dozen people, right? Like, hey, we're about to start this cohort. It's 30 days. I'm sorry, it's 90 days, 3 months. We only have 6 seats, and we'd love to have you a part of this. If you're interested in it, come to this free webinar, no risk. Like it doesn't cost you anything. In fact, we can put a dollar figure on it and say it's like, hey, this webinar, we usually charge $100 for this, but I'll give you a free ticket, right? But they go to the webinar, and then whoever shows up to the webinar, yeah, they're more likely to come to the cohort. So it's like, yeah, let's have a webinar, or we can fast track them to like, or meet with James to do strategy.
And for that webinar, the content for that, is that something you would be just already set up with?
Yeah, yeah, I can put that together in a day. Like
Yeah.
that's not hard for me to
Gotcha.
do. I would love to do it as a webinar and have multiple people so that I don't have to meet with a dozen people one on one. So basically, it's like come to this live webinar workshop. I'll teach 20 minutes of teaching you. Basically, I'm teaching them the funnel, that
Yeah.
process, and teaching them that like these parts are important, and we have video resources on all these programs. And then the ask becomes like, hey, and we're running this cohort. It's $1,000 a month for 3 months. If you don't have that money, we have a training on how to raise that that money with your existing list. And we maybe there's like pre-built emails. That's like another great offer, right? Um, raise the capital uh, campaign workflow. It's like if you don't have the money, we'll help you raise the money to get this. So we'll go out to your folks, tell them, compelling story again, right? Hey, we met this awesome group. They're going to help us. We think this is really important. We don't have the money to take this. It's 3K. Would you be willing to partner with us us to do this? Right. I like that idea.
Yeah.
And then you have the cohort. I'll run the cohort. Don't worry about that. And then the reviews, obviously, that comes afterwards. But the most important thing right now to decide or think about is who are those targets? Who needs this the most? I just invented the recurring giving offer, or that's the pitch. But it could be something else. It could be like there's a lot of topics I could talk on, like um, optimizing email. Uh, oh, we talked about AI, right?
Yeah.
So who's who are the organizations that need to use AI the most? Right. So maybe
Mm.
so recurring giving is one, AI.
I mean, I think the biggest question too is because not it's kind of like you have to sell them on not just AI, but how to use AI because their consciences and convictions will be a little bit tighter. So even equipping them in the sense of like, okay, how do we think of this as Christians?
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah,
if
that's
if it's going to be Christian, um,
part of the cohort. Like
yeah,
there's definitely going to be like month or session number one is going to be mindset and
yeah,
how do you think of it? So again, don't you don't need to get too caught up in like what are the details of this? That's just my nature is always like, whoa, let's take like 10 steps back. And the most important thing is like in one sentence, how can I get you interested? You as a target, right? So what are some things that you've heard? You have friends in nonprofit space. They're all struggling with similar challenges. Certainly, like AI is one of those things. Like, how this is an important tool. I know we need to leverage this. How do we do it? Right. Uh, we had a we had a an AI event at our church. Kevin knew a guy, came out to speak because he's working on a documentary about like how AI is impacting everything. And it's like the documentary is shot from a Christian worldview. Like, okay, what do we as Christians need to be thinking about this? We had like 100 people come out to this.
mhm,
It was like on a Friday night, Saturday night. I was shocked that there were so many people there. Unfortunately, between you and me, he was not a good speaker. He was a really poor, like completely incoherent um, talk. And the best part of it was Kevin was like, "Whoa, time out. Let's just have a dialogue. Let's like." And that was always part of it, doing like a little Q&A,
yeah,
and that was good, but yeah, it was not helpful. So the content was not there. I think I could do a better. I think I could do a better job at creating like a 3 month, like here's how you should be thinking about AI as a church
yeah.
program. But maybe it's that. Maybe it's like churches. How about churches in cities?
Yeah. So I'm basically because I was thinking it was like, okay, how do you get my question was going in my head is like, what's the hang up? What would be the hang up from them not coming to a webinar, therefore not coming to a cohort? especially if it is ministry based. Well, just a tighter hesitancy towards AI. But for your general nonprofits, the leaning towards it is just productivity being left behind. Um,
I don't think that's the only thing. I think
Not the
there's,
only thing, but
yeah, I
well,
think there's a mindset element. I think there's a fear element. So there's some like psychology. Anyway, this being the first one, here's the cool thing. What I learned from someone who runs cohorts and does this as a career, I think he makes like 600, 700K a year with a team of three. He does very well. And he teaches people how to run cohorts. And one like gem he gave me was we're building this list, right? We build a list of family-driven nonprofits or church ministries, and we're reaching out to them, like developing relationships, and we tell them like, hey, we're running this cohort, and maybe we give them like an awesome discount. Like, hey, it's 2K a month. We're in our first series. Like we've run cohorts before, but this is our first one for this group for this topic. We'd love to give you 50% off to join this, and we only have 6 spots. And the reason why we do six is because you can sell six. And when we close it, we immediately go back to the rest of the group and go, hey, we know we've been talking about this a lot. Sorry, it's sold out. So the title of his program is called Sold Out Cohort or something like that. So you go back to the group and say, sorry, it's sold out. So that offer we just gave you no longer exists. If you're still interested, we'll let you know when the next one is, right? Just let us know. So we'll put you on the list early. Immediately psychologically, right? That creates like the scarcity, like, oh shoot, I missed out on that thing. Gets them interested in the next one. It's like, hey, great, we're gonna run this again. We're gonna do it for 12. But we're only doing 30% off. But it's available to you if you'd like to take it. Again, sell those seats, cap it off wherever. Hey, second session just sold out again. We're finding this is a really important topic. We'll be running more of these throughout the year. Thank you for people who have joined in, blah, blah, blah. And then like give people a review, ask for a review, give them some incentive. Like, hey, if you refer anybody, we'll give them your discount, right? So on and so forth. I mean, there's all these like marketing plays that you can run
yeah,
once this exists. But the absolute most important thing I can't stress enough is who is the target? What are we selling them? And we're not like inventing this from thin air. We have a good starting place. I think recurring giving, AI training, maybe like one more, and then we can test those landing pages. We can test some audiences. We can test even like, and this is like a great marketing tactic. You and I both have a strong network of organizations that we can go to and say like, hey, we're about to run a cohort. This is an intensive 3 months where we can train organizations just like you to do this. Can you just give me some feedback on this? We want to teach recurring giving, AI training, or this. Which one is most interesting to you? Just get some feedback. And then like again, just a good follow-up a month later would be like, hey, thanks so much for your feedback. We landed on AI training. So if you're interested or if anybody you know is interested, our first cohort, we're giving 50% off. It's 2K a month. We're giving 50% off. It's 1K for you. So let us know if you're, or even like we're doing 80%. I don't care what the number is, right? It's originally 2K. We're giving 75% off for the first one. It's $500 a month. Let's just get like one of the cohorts going. But as we're running the cohort, we're marketing the next cohort right, almost right away, right? We can go out to the next list. Hey, this one's closed for this next 3 months, but we just opened, you know, January's closed, but we're opening February's cohort. And my goal is to have 3 cohorts every month. So basically start a cohort every month. And so we have 3 running at any given point. Um, and so let's say conservatively $1,000 a month, 10 people, $10,000 a month, 3 cohorts, 360,000 dollars a year.
yeah.
It's great.
Okay.
That's a great revenue stream. And then as they get better, and like I know people who have done this playbook and they charge $30,000 for a cohort. I've paid 2 separate cohorts $10,000 to be in a cohort. Because once you start getting momentum, there are some like ancillary benefits of being a part of these like the network. So
Yeah.
one cohort I just joined because I was like, I think I know 80% of this content. I knew, after I did it, I was like, that was good. I knew like 40%. And it was helpful to go through it, but I made really great relationships. I'm part of there's like, it's called Circle. There's like a Circle community. There people are looking for marketing support services. We can be their partner for other stuff in the future. I pitched some vending machines. He was super interested in like marketing services vending machine for their cohort because everybody who goes through the program needs someone who can help build a landing page, build some of these things, like get this stuff going, and we can do that fairly like that is easy for us to do. All right, so maybe in the time we have, maybe one more th or can I? Would you agree that you would you agree that cohorts is a good start to like running
Yeah,
marketing
I
programs? Okay.
do. It's just more or less I just need to bring together what we already have with Alchemy and then seeing what links we have with because
Yeah,
I have to retrieve those links again from Be Bold.
sure.
Um,
Yeah,
I,
there's work. There's work to
yeah,
do. But
so
um,
it's that middle piece that I'm wanting to fill.
yeah, let's think through one more offer, and then I think the offer is the most important thing, and then who are we selling that to? But it could be reversed. Who are we selling that to? If there was a group that you're connected to well, like uh publishing, maybe like Christian publishing. There's a
Yeah.
lot of those folks. Let me just put that up there. I don't know what they want though.
Well, they wouldn't want recurring giving generally.
Uh,
It would be more just what do you mean AI? Yeah, I would think that a little bit more. But yeah,
yeah, maybe it's like
they're making a profit, even though they're nonprofit.
yeah, so maybe it's like social.
It's certainly reaching the younger crowds, I feel like. That's a pain point for Banner.
Gen Z.
Um,
Gen Z.
and
Or
integrating new technology, so like AI could be a possibility.
sure. Like I just invented that. So if you have others, keep adding to this list, but let's narrow it down to the three most impactful. If one hits you and you're like, James, I got it.
Hmm.
Personal trainer, Christian personal trainers that do. I don't know. Yeah, I mean, after this, I'll put this into ChatGPT and have ChatGPT like give us 15 more options, right? Yeah, so maybe it's this. Um, yeah, I like the AI training one because it's very topical. People care about it. It's interesting. I do have a unique perspective around AI training and recurring giving. Our showcase is not as good as on social because we don't do social media as well as we would preach it. Uh, yeah, and it has to be content that like we have some uh, what's it called? Expertise. Maybe it's branding, storytelling. Like that just feels soft to me. I don't.
I will say what brands usually do with publishing, they do struggle with branding. Um, like Crossway's are different. Like all of them have like words as their brand, but like for example, Banner has an iconic logo.
Yeah,
So that is an example. Most brands for Christian publishing are not memorable,
that may be true.
but it's a small group, so they're not
It's a small
fighting.
group, but also there's a little bit of Christian knowledge happening here where you care about that, and
Yeah.
I don't know if listen, I've worked on a Master of Fine Art also. Like I care about that. You care about that. I'm not sure if the organization cares about that enough to pay to think about that regularly.
Yeah.
So, but you know what's cool? Like Banner. and other publishers are business groups. They're a perfect fit for Alchemy, not necessarily cohorts. Like we can even pitch them like a whole cohort. I've had this. I had a big organization. This is for slices. So, I was talking to agencies who want to implement slices, right? Slices is the cohort, it's a program. This is the target. Um, some of them were big enough they were like, hey, can we run a cohort just for our group? Like, sure, pay the cost it would be for 6 seats, and we'll give you 10 seats. Bring your salespeople into it, bring your blah blah blah. So maybe for Banner, it's like, hey, Banner, don't you want all your writers and your the individual people to do better? We have a story and digital program and social media program where they probably need to do these things, but they don't do it well. We'll run the cohort for you. Pay us 6 seats and make them pay half of it. I don't know, whatever you want.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. We have a meeting at 9, yeah?
Yeah, we do.
Okay.
With equity.
I'm just gonna run to the restroom before that meeting, but this is helpful to
It
see.
is.
All right.
Mhm.
Next steps. Very next step is like let's round out, let's finalize what the cohort is going to be and who the targets are. And I'm okay with again 2 or 3 different targets for a different type of cohort because we need to be the very next thing after that is like once we finalize on 3, we need to build the landing pages for those 3 and then go balls to the wall. Go find those targets, pull them by the collar, our friends, our colleagues. Hey, we just started this thing. Would you give us some feedback on this? Hey, and then the very next question is, do you know anybody who would be interested in taking this? We'll give you part of the referral fee for that. Um, Try to run that first cohort, and then it's history, and then we'll like keep building on it.
Yeah. Okay.
All right, cool. Thanks, dude. Appreciate you.
Thank you. You want me to lead this next meeting at 9?
Just the to-dos.
Okay.
Yep.
Good.
All right. Thanks, man. Later.
Mhm.